Here's Michaela Peterson to explain why her father is in the hospital.
Hey guys, I have an update on my dad. I'm actually just going to read this. It's on my teleprompter because this is too hard to explain off the cuff, so I wrote it out. This summer has been exceedingly difficult. Dad was in an ICU suffering from pneumonia and sepsis after dealing with a host of neurological issues this summer that we believe stem from SIRS, which is chronic inflammatory response syndrome due to decades of mold exposure. We don't have a better explanation for his neurological symptoms at the moment other than spiritual attacks.
Is that what the doctors told her? I don't know if I trust Jordan Peterson's health to his daughter's estimates about what is wrong with him or what the best treatments for him are. Peterson has been an advocate for a lot of terrible shit over the last 10 years or so, but I can't help but feel sorry for his frequent health problems, and the fact that when you listen to him speak, it sounds like the inside of his mind is a house of horrors, even on the best of days. Being Jordan Peterson would not be fun, and I don't like to see anyone in pain.
He's been suffering for the last number of years with unexplainable neuropathy and weakness, amongst other symptoms, but they worsened this summer after he cleaned out his parents' basement after his dad, my grandpa, passed away.
Wait, go back to the spiritual attack part. What does that mean? Have the Etsy witches been casting spells on him? And if this was due to decades of mold exposure, why would it suddenly get worse from going into a basement? He didn't spend decades in that basement, so where else was the mold? Did he have a moldy house this whole time? Does his wife also have mold exposure? And is this Jordan's own speculation, like the cider? Peterson's self-assessments often seem like tenuous post hoc inferences. And is the steak-only diet not helping him anymore?
We weren't able to communicate with Dad really all of September. During the end of the pneumonia, he was diagnosed with critical illness polyneuropathy, which we're hoping is critical illness myopathy, which is bad enough. That's been heartbreaking and brutal on top of everything else. But after almost a month in the ICU, he's been moved out to a less urgent floor. Praise God for that.
What do you mean by God? Doesn't Jordan believe that God is just your conscience? Did your conscience move your dad out of the ICU? I'm actually a bit relieved that he's in a real hospital this time and not in a sketchy Russian coma.
We're still in the midst of this, but now we're seeing improvements daily. The timeline for his full recovery is hard to tell at the moment, and I'll update everyone when we have more information. My family's asking for prayers. Like I said, this summer's been exceedingly difficult and terrifying. Dad's condition is complicated by the fact he can't take most medications without suffering from severe paradoxical reactions, which limits treatment options.
Is that the doctor's assessment, or is this just Peterson distrusting medicine? I know the benzos exacerbated his anxiety, but what other medications do the opposite to Jordan that they're supposed to?
Like I mentioned, I believe there's a spiritual element at play here.
Why, though? How do you even discern that?
I think a lot of people have felt it in the last few weeks and months. It's been hitting my dad and my family hard this summer. In August, the day Dad was brought to a hospital by ambulance, my newborn Audrey was also brought to a hospital by ambulance within hours of each other. It was unbelievable.
I don't know, it seems pretty believable to me that this is a coincidence. And if this is a spiritual attack on Jordan, why would it affect your kids?
This was the second time this summer we had brought Audrey to the hospital after she almost died from near heart failure at 6 weeks old. That is exceedingly rare, and they couldn't find a cause for. She was diagnosed with idiopathic pulmonary hypertension, which seems to have resolved, praise God. But it's not something that happens.
If doctors have a name for it, it must happen occasionally.
This was late July, after Dad and I recorded some episodes of the call-in show together. Everything went just really downhill fast after that. Every single day this summer and now fall has been like watching a movie. Our family's relying heavily on the Lord through this and seeing miracles around us. We are. And I'm also aware that God uses everything for good. So eventually we'll see why this is happening or what comes of it.
If there is some spiritual reason this is happening, how do you expect to find out why it's happening? If God uses everything for good, does that mean that he's the one doing the spiritual attacks for some greater purpose? Or was God allowing someone else to place curses on your dad because God wanted him to get sick and you expect to see some eventual benefit from it?
Well, he's hopefully recovering. And like I said, I'll keep people updated. He has a team of people, including myself, continuing his mission, including Peterson Academy, and will be releasing his We Who Wrestle with God tour to everyone on YouTube, which he's wanted to do for a long time.
Whatever happened to Peterson Academy? Is it still going to replace the universities like Jordan was hoping? So far, it just seems like a streaming service for lecture videos. There are no exams, and it doesn't yet grant any degrees. They say they're going to do that eventually, but it seems an awful lot like vaporware for now. The channel Gadget has a great video explaining some of Peterson Academy's questionable customer service standards. Here's Michaela's response to the folks complaining about a price hike.
There is one person who did not find the meme about the price hike funny. Jordan Peterson's daughter, Michaela Fuller. She quoted the meme inside the Peterson Academy platform with the most unbelievable post that shocked many of the members. She said to all of their paying subscribers, "I mean this with love because I really enjoy your memes, but I've been working since I was in grade 2. I sold books, shoveled snow, raked, cleaned cars, then had a paper route, then multiple restaurant and bar jobs. I was making enough when I was 15 at an ice rink, working evenings and weekends to easily afford $50 a month for a university education and would have been thrilled with it. I don't come from money at all, and I didn't really have extra money until I was 26. But it's not hard to get a starter job and move your way up if you make yourself useful." After talking about how the goal price point was always $4,000 for a degree, she says, "We also have a short-term goal of providing access to Peterson Academy for low-income students and vets. But if $50 a month is too much, and you're not in a position where you're a vet or a single parent, you should probably change jobs and/or work harder. Resentment is poisonous and can destroy your life."
Imagine any other business responding to complaints about a price hike by telling their customers maybe you should just work harder.
And given we think there's a spiritual element at play here, we believe the right way to fight back is to keep going and push harder, if anything. Life isn't necessarily supposed to get easier when you're doing the right thing. And I can see God's hand throughout this, but it's a lot to handle.
So what are you going to keep doing exactly? Uploading to Peterson Academy?
My family agreed or wanted to delay updating everybody because a lot has happened over the last few months, and we were hoping he would recover faster and we would see bigger improvements sooner and have better news. And it was really a near-death experience for a long time. So we've been just dealing with this one day at a time. We still are. It's been overwhelming, but it looks like, and we're praying that things are headed in the right direction. He's out of the ICU. So that's the main thing. He's out of the ICU. Like I said, praise God for that. Thank you all for listening. Thank you for the prayers. Thank you to everybody who's reached out. I'll be back on YouTube maybe in the next month or so, depending on how things go. Yeah, that's the update.
So who are the suspects you think are responsible for the spiritual attacks? And is your only evidence the fact that your daughter got sick at around the same time? Do you really think there aren't any less far-fetched explanations for that? Peterson seems to get sick a lot, which may explain why he's so distrusting of medicine, but I also suspect it may sometimes be a result of his distrust of medicine. And given that Jordan said in his Jubilee debate that he hasn't committed to identifying as Christian, how much of this spiritual attack stuff does he actually believe in? To everyone who helps me out on Patreon, you're a big help. Thanks so much.